Hello everybody and welcome into the NOMA Manny Rays Truck Series live tonight with the final race in the round of 16. That's right, it's going to be an elimination race in time for 8 drivers to be eliminated after the action here tonight. Thank you all so much for tuning in. You're watching Austin Green on PGR eSports. Well, qualifying is complete. Drivers are getting gridded up, and overall, a bit of a small field here tonight. That doesn't come as too much of a surprise. Of course, it's championship weekend in real life, so a lot of people are currently watching real life Xfinity Championship. But hey, for the drivers that made it out to the racetrack here tonight in the NOMA Truck Series, a lot of them are going to be able to lock themselves a ticket just by showing up into the next round. All right, so let's get right into it here with tonight's starting grid. Justin Parham, he takes the pole for Grandstand Racing, puts down a 20.457. Actually, I take that back, it's at 29.457. Lap times here coming in at just under the 30-second marker, at least on fresh tires. Grant Turner, he'll take the outside pole as he rolls off second here tonight. Then it's going to be Joey Hickox back in third in the number 3 truck. Chase Greer, his teammate, to his outside in fourth. Then it's going to be Keith Prince back in fifth. Matthew Fritz looking to keep his playoff hopes alive here tonight. He will roll off sixth, with Jonathan Herbert back in seventh, Jay Stinson in eighth, John Buwalda in ninth, and Sam Boutwell rounding out your top 10. Moving on back to the final position starting here tonight is David Traylor in the 11th spot. Looking at your race info, it is the Blue Ridge Auto Group 160 here from Nashville Superspeedway. Race will be 160 laps. One lap around Nashville Superspeedway, about 1.3 miles in distance. And Nashville Superspeedway is an interesting track, but we'll get into more of that after we click off the first couple laps. 75% fuel, 5 sets of tires, including the one you start at, 1 faster pair of fixed setups, and then 2 stages. Stage 1 at the end of lap 35, stage 2 at the end of lap 75, and then we have 3 green-white checkers if we were to need them. Well, again, most of the drivers that showed up here tonight, they'll be good to make it into the next round. But hey, how about some momentum to drag with you as we get closer to the championship? Green flag is in the air. We are racing in the Music City. Lap 1 in the books, and it goes to the 19 of Justin Parham. Currently leads the 93 of Grant Turner, and then they're side-by-side behind the front two. In fact, right now, side-by-side trying to take that spot, and he will, was the one of Keith Prince. Picks up a spot over Chase Greer. Jay Stinson here, trouble. Caution is out as the 2 truck has gone around. Heavy damage to the left front. Had the Rhino lining scheme on there tonight. Man, he took a massive hit. Can't tell if it was on the inside or the outside wall. You can see he's got some damage to the rear end as well. Wonder if maybe he got a little bit of help here. Certainly not the way Jay Stinson wanted to kick off this race. An early caution here, just 3 laps complete. And so we'll rack him up here and try it again on another restart. Well, let's go back and figure out exactly what happens here to the 2 truck. Does he just lose it by himself? I figured he got some help, and it looks like I may very well be correct here. Watch it from the chopper view first off. So there's Stinson on the inside. On the outside there, I believe he's racing with the 47 of Sam Boutwell. And as they go through the corner, Stinson gets a big run. He's going to slide up, at least try to slide up, but Sam Boutwell had a run coming back in the middle of the corner, and right as the 2 slides up, 47's coming with a big run, and Boutwell is going to just barely get into the right rear. Just barely, but it's just enough to send the 2 truck out of shape. And now that he's really out of shape, Boutwell gets into him again, and then there's that big hit to the left front for Jay Stinson. And that outside safer barrier, that's what did all the damage that we saw. And so for Jay, again, he's looking good to advance to the next round of the playoffs. That's not the concern, but certainly wanted to have a good run here tonight, and that's not going to be a good way to start it. Let's watch the onboard view here. I wonder if Jay was trying to do the slide job and then just started getting really tight as he got there. Let's see. Let's back it up a little bit further. Take a listen. starts to get up the track and just, like I said, I think a little bit of a miscommunication. Maybe not as much give and take as you would expect here early between Boutwell and Stinson. With Stinson taking that hard hit, Boutwell not able to cut him a break. Here's what it looked like from Boutwell's point of view as he sees the two start to slide up here. And from that view, and actually it kind of looked like this when we looked at it from the chopper view, there may have been just a slight bit of net code that maybe Boutwell wasn't accounting for, of course, because, I mean, nobody accounts for it. You're expecting that you can get all but touching in these trucks, and right there is where contact occurred, and then that big hit for Jay Stinson. Looked like Boutwell maybe with some contact as well. We'll have to see if he has to go in and get that truck worked on here. Get one more view of this here from a static cam for Stinson and Boutwell. And as the two truck loops around, right there, man, that's a hard hit too. So the truck jump off the ground just for a split second there. How hard he hits the wall, but nonetheless, is what brought out your first caution of the night as we go back up front, back live. 5 of 160 laps complete. Justin Parham still being scored as your leader. Grant Turner's in second. Then it's Keith Prince back in third with Joey Hickox in fourth. And Chase Greer rounding out your top 5. By the way, if you're tuning in, of course, we appreciate you being here. I do want to let everybody know, if you see that scoring tower there on the left, you see one driver in blue, all the rest are in white. Well, that's because what we did is highlighted the drivers that are currently in the round of 16 fighting to get to the round of 8 in white. And again, that makes up most of the field here tonight, as we only had 11 drivers actually start the race. And so that is why it looks like that. So Grant Turner right now, who is the only non-playoff driver in the field, is actually currently leading the way. So a good run going right now for Grant Turner. We'll see if he can keep that up. So if you're Grant, obviously stage points here don't really serve a purpose. It's, I would say more than anything, you're just kind of trying to set yourself up for what you're going to do, I would say more so at the end of this race. So maybe making sure that whatever strategy you go with, whether that's pit at the end of the stage, maybe a little bit before, and just keep flipping that track position, whatever the case may be. He's strictly worried about trying to set himself up to win this race, and that is it. And so for Grant Turner, we'll have to see what he can make of it right here as we'll try this yet again. Now a handful of laps officially in the books as we go back into the restart zone. Green flag is back in the air at Nashville, and it's a good jump for the 19 of Justin Parham. That big jump's going to carry him all the way towards turn number 1 without any contest, as you see a little bit of 2x2. Back for the third position, that's Joey Hickox on the inside, Keith Prince on the outside. And these trucks a lot more downforce than what we see with the Xfinity cars. So these first couple laps, even though Nashville Superspeedway kind of races like a short track a little bit in the corners, downforce still important enough to where I think that inside's going to prevail, but we'll have to see what happens here. You can see Keith Prince still fighting hard on the outside, trying to make something happen. The cooler track temp, though, is maybe the thing that's kind of hurting him right now. 69 degrees. That's one of the coolest track temps we've seen all season as we are under the bright lights here in the Music City. That's what's helping Joey Hickox run so much speed on the inside, even if Keith Prince is able to pin him down. As again, cooler track temps, tires don't get hot as quick, and the track overall just has more grip. So Hickox here, he's going to try to hold this, but Keith Prince might be able to actually get this spot here over the course of the next lap or so. He's able to at least get some momentum down the straight. He just hasn't been able to get enough yet to quite get clear of the number 3 truck entry. And now this is going to pull a couple of others into the mix. Chase Greer, teammate to Joey Hickox. Can he try to maybe help the 3 out here just a little bit down these straights? And then Jonathan Herbert in the 87 just behind them. He has now fought his way back into the mix. There's the 29 of Fritz and the 5 of John DeWalder Jr. going at it. Parham, though, still leading the way. He's got about a half a second gap now on second place Grant Turner. By the way, Grant is carrying an onboard view for us here tonight. And Nashville, one of those tracks where actually watching these driver cams is going to be pretty interesting. I guess I should say the pedal cam, if you will, which Grant always carries on board for us. And he's going to be using not just the throttle, but also the brake here tonight, especially as the run goes on and the tires start to wear out. You can hear, though, as he gets in the corner, he may not be using much brake. Be a little bit curious. In fact, we'll pull up the dashboard telemetry here for Justin Parham, but we'll go a spot back here to Grant Turner and hop back on the cockpit view. And watch what this throttle does there on the bottom right. See almost 176 miles an hour down the straightaway, and then sure enough, as he gets into the corner, lets off the throttle, but I don't know if he's actually using any brake yet. Back on the gas up to almost 170 miles an hour down the back straightaway here at Nashville Superspeedway, and that's, I think, really kind of the interesting characteristic about this track is it's called Superspeedway. But of course, when you think of Superspeedway, Daytona, Talladega, those are the kind of tracks that come to mind, not the kind of racing we get here, which is, again, you have these relatively long straightaways. Track is just under 1.5 miles in length, but the corners run more like a short track, something that you would maybe expect at something between a Dover and maybe a Richmond. It's kind of the best way I would describe it. And so tire wear is certainly going to be an important factor of this race. Boy, look at Grant Turner diving it in deep here on the inside through 3 and 4. We'll see if he's got enough of a run here to try to get clear of Parham down the front stretch. He'll cut the apron, no out of bounds here. So the 93 truck's able to take advantage of that rule. Grant Turner is going to try a little bit of a slide job here. We saw Stinson try that earlier on Boutwell further back. It sparked the first caution. Turner doesn't try it that time, content to just try to fight to stay even. Here comes the one of Keith Prince. He's going to have some decisions to make here if these two are still side by side. When he gets there, does he try to go 3 wide, or does he try to help one of them get clear and then kind of follow the leader, if you will? Looks like he hasn't chosen to do anything just yet, as the rest of the field is still single file right now with 13 of 160 laps complete. And it's interesting because the longer these two do go 2x2, the more that's probably going to help the one of Keith Prince here try to get a run and maybe try to make something happen. But for Justin Parham here, he's going to want to keep the lead. And really, I feel like, not in every race course we've seen the 16 find victory lane, or excuse me, the 19 find victory lane a few times this season. But I feel like for Justin Parham, one of the big struggles has been when he loses that clean air and then maybe loses a couple spots. It seems like it starts to snowball sometimes for this 19 crew. So we'll see if Parham, again, trying to maintain this clean air, maybe that helps him on the back end of this run, not having to fight so hard to get himself in better track position. And we know that they should be good to go on fuel here till the end of the first stage, especially with that first caution, which is going to be at the end of lap 35. So they're going to be closing in here on 21 laps to go in the stage when they cross the line this time. So for Justin Parham, as I kind of just mentioned that about struggling once he gets in clean air, but he got a win just a couple weeks ago at Texas, so the round of 16 driver has already pretty much punched his ticket into the round of 8. Again, just looking to see if he can grab a little bit more momentum here tonight. And then last race that we had, which was at Kansas, which was 2 weeks ago. Of course, we had the off week last week, was won by David Traylor in the 54. And so Traylor, who right now actually sits in last, that's a bit of a surprise, something you don't hear us saying much. I'm not sure what the deal is for David Traylor, if he had an issue or if he's saving just a ridiculous amount of time. I have no idea, but David Traylor is way off pace compared to where we would usually expect to see this 54 running right about now. But either way, the point I was making was David Traylor, with that win, similar to Justin Parham, has basically punched his ticket into the round of 8, especially with the little bit of a lack of attendance here tonight in this 160-lap event. Nancy Hickox says, "Hey, Austin, thanks for broadcasting for us to see. Did I understand you correctly that the drivers in white on the board are already in the round of 16? Yes, Nancy, that's correct. The drivers in white are currently drivers in the round of 16, and this is actually a little bit of a new overlay that I've been working with, trying some things out. One of the things that I'm thinking about trying, maybe not this season, at least not at this point, is we're a little bit too deep, is, for example, Justin Parham. If he was, in theory, locked in by this point via points math, I would set him up to be in green, and that would indicate that he is locked into the next round, whereas the drivers who are currently in the round of 16 but not locked into the next round would still be in white. But again, just something that we're playing with at the moment. Not going to make any adjustments this season to it. It is, for now, as simple as if you see one of your drivers' names in white, they are currently one of the drivers in the playoffs, more specifically the round of 16, looking to advance to the round of 8, which gets kicked off next week. So speaking of the drivers in the round of 16, let's actually talk just a little bit about what those current points are looking like. Justin Parham currently does lead the point standings. Jay Stinson second, Mark Beverly third, with Chase Greer fourth, David Traylor fifth, Keith Prince in sixth, Matthew Fritz seventh, Joey Hickox currently rounding out the round of 8. And so for Hickox, this was an important race to make because you got certain guys in front of him that, of course, weren't here tonight, such as Mark Beverly. And I believe that's actually it for drivers in the top 8, at least currently, that weren't here tonight. But then you look at some of the drivers that are outside looking in. Sam Boutwell, he's here tonight, and he was just 1 point below the cut line. So if he has a good run here tonight, he could very well get himself in. And you look at Jonathan Herbert, he's here tonight, just 3 points below. Zach Stevens, Chris Melton, not here tonight. John Bowalda Jr. is, but he's looking like he's probably going to need a win. And I'm not even sure if that would be enough to get him in at this point. Brody Venti, Jake Bustos, and Jesse Calloway, all drivers that are not here tonight either. So their chances of advancing to that round of 8 will be coming to an end officially after the action here tonight. Joey Hickox, we just talked about him. Right now, the first driver above that cut line, And the best way to kind of avoid any insecurities that might come with running in that position in terms of the points is go out here and get a win tonight and not have to worry about it. I think with, again, Mark Beverly missing, and as long as Joey has a pretty good run, he should be okay. The biggest driver he's racing against, of course, is Sam Boutwell, who currently sits back in that 9th position, about 4.6 seconds back from the leaders. And so with 21 laps now complete, this will be giving us 14 laps to go on the stage as they cross the line this time. Justin Parham, stage points could potentially help him in the round of 8 in terms of trying to set himself up to advance to the round of 4. So I think if you're Justin Parham, that's why you fight so hard for these stage points. And look what happened. He had to fight pretty hard there to keep that clean air. Had to fend off a couple guys for a little bit, but he was able to do that. And now it seems like he's got himself in a little bit more of an established position here. I mean, 3 to 4 tenths of a second isn't much, but the point is Hickox, Chase Greer, and Keith Prince have not been able to close up too much more on the back bumper of the 19, at least not yet. So that's the good news there for Justin Parham. And for Venom Racing, with, of course, Joey Hickox sitting in 2nd and then Chase Greer back in 3rd. They're looking to see if they can get one of their drivers back on top, as it's been Grandstand Racing dominating the last couple weeks at some of the mile-and-a-halfs that we've went to. But now that we're back at kind of a hybrid mile-and-a-half to short track style action. And this is a track that really we heard a lot of drivers not complain about getting loose so much as they did actually complaining getting tight as the run went on. I'm curious to see if that's the same deal here tonight. And again, how long will these cooler track temps keep the field tightened up a little bit longer than what we would normally see? As everybody with a little bit more grip out of these Goodyear tires able to stay pretty close. And again, the draft does play a little bit of a factor down these straightaways. Not as much as it would at, a mile and a half for obviously a genuine super speedway. But if you're still close, running in a streamline here down the straights, you're going to be running a little bit faster than the drivers that are running by themselves. Now, of course, wind is not as big of an issue here tonight. Usually isn't. 3 miles an hour, that's not going to necessarily make that draft any more effective than it already is, but just something to note. Again, top 5 still all throw them under a blanket within a second of each other. And after that, things really start to stretch out a bit more as Jonathan Herbert, who's in 6th, is about 1.3 seconds behind Grant Turner. And then Jay Stinson trying to bounce back here as much as he can in the rest of stage 1 after being involved in that incident that forced him to use his one and only fast repair that he had here tonight. And obviously a little bit sooner than he would have wanted to have to use that. Matthew Fritz back at 8th right now in the 29 Manny Rays Mafia machine. And then it's Sam Boutwell in 9th with David Traylor 10th. And John Buwalda Jr. has now fallen to last position on the racetrack as he currently sits in 11th. And if we actually take a look at the track map, I don't know if lap traffic will be a big issue here tonight with only 11 trucks, but Buwalda right now is certainly the farthest off the pace. As now that we go back up front, battle for the lead is on. Joey Hickox has arrived, and he's going to want this position here to see if he can grab the stage win. He's going to have to work pretty hard for it here, though. Justin Parham will not give it up easy, especially because he knows that when we cross the line this time, we're going to be coming to just 8 laps to go here in stage number 1. Again, fuel is not a concern. It's all about who's going to get back to this green and white checkered flag first. And if you're Justin Parham, what adjustments do you make? Does he try to take some of the air off the nose of the 3 truck, or does he just continue to run the line that he feels is the most comfortable? Again, we have not seen drivers work in too many different lines. I would say for the most part, it's been the bottom of the racetrack as the place to go, at least after the first couple laps of a restart. That certainly doesn't mean that at some point we see a driver maybe try to get this top groove working a little bit. And what's really interesting here about Nashville Superspeedway, by the way, is, kind of contrary to most tracks that we go to that's asphalt, this is actually a concrete oval. So that changes the way that the track runs and the way that rubber kind of wears onto the racetrack as well. So the concrete ovals, some feel a little bit looser, a little bit tighter. I would say here tonight in the trucks, it's probably going to feel, like I said, a little bit tighter, especially knowing that we've got that cooler track temp, so you don't have to worry about the back tire slipping out quite as much. Although you never know, depends on how you drive it in terms of then how it will handle in the long run. And as we now come to 6 laps to go on the stage, Joey Hickox still sitting about 0.2 of a second back. He's got Chase Greer right on his back bumper. I think Chase is kind of content right now to just help his teammate and just kind of stay in line. He's watching to see if Joey can go up here and try to make a pass on the 19. If he can't, then maybe we'll see a move out of Chase Greer on his teammate on the last lap or so. But what he certainly doesn't want to do is get to racing here and allow the 1 of Keith Prince and maybe even the 93 of Grant Turner to bring themselves back into the mix. And so as they now cross the line, it'll be just 5 laps to go. Justin Parham, if he can get this stage win, that'll set himself up too with really good track position for stage 2, which, I mean, we predict is going to be about the same distance. Again, they'll get going back to green flag racing probably right around lap 40. And then the end of the stage 2 will be right at lap 35. As here we go, or excuse me, 75, but here we go. Chase Greer going to make that move on his teammate. Jumped that line down the back straight away. And we'll see how hard Hickox fights him for it here. Will Joey let him go, try to switch it up? Doesn't look like it. They're going to stay side by side, and this is exactly what Justin Parham wanted to see. Chase Greer will now yield that position back to his teammate as they get off towards turn number 1. That helped Parham stretch that lead just a little bit. He now has it back up to almost half a second. And if you're Justin Parham here, now it becomes just don't make a mistake. That might be enough of a gap here with what's going to be just 3 laps remaining in the stage, that as long as he doesn't make a mistake, I would find it really hard to believe that Joey Hickox is able to get back to him. And even if he does, I don't know if he'll have enough tire to necessarily set up a move. So we'll see if Chase Greer decides to try to set this move up again here on his teammate. I think the best place to do it, if you're going to make something happen, is get that run kind of off of the corner, get side by side down the straight, and then try to send it off and get cleared down on entry to the middle of the corner. It just doesn't seem like it's really worked out any other way, at least not yet, for anybody besides on the restarts. So up the racetrack goes Joey Hickox. He'll get a little bit of breathing room right there from his teammate Chase Greer, as now Justin Parham sees just 2 laps to go here in stage number 1. If we get a caution at this point, that would bring us, of course, to the end of that stage break. And looks like single file for the most part. Majority of the field further back. Sam Boutwell, David Traylor here, maybe getting ready to battle it out just a little bit. Looks like David Traylor was able to track down Boutwell. He'll take a peek to the inside. And it looks like David Traylor might have a chance to get that position. That'll move him up to the 8th position. Meanwhile, back up front, here we go. 1 lap to go in stage number 1 for Justin Parham. And for Parham, what a great start to this race it would be as he continues to try to put together any momentum he can before we head off into the round of 8 next week. Justin Parham, we've seen what he can do when you give him the opportunity to make it to a NOMA championship. Oh, we saw some trouble further back there, but it looks like everybody held it together. So as he works his way through 3 and 4, for the final time in stage 1, keeps it clean. And how about this? Justin Parham, he's led the most laps so far, and he'll cap off stage 1 with a stage win. Joey Hickox finishes in 2nd. Chase Greer brings home 3rd in the stage. And so now we will await for the caution. As they're going down the backstretch, and no caution just yet now. And there it is. All right, so caution is out as the field has finally passed the start-finish line. And so this will be everybody's first chance here under this caution to go in for tires and fill it up with fuel. And set up for what I believe they'll be able to make it to the end of stage 2 as well. It'll be stage 3 where we expect to see at least 1 and potentially 2 pit stops. But either way, so far so good for Justin Parham. We'll get a chance to talk to him when we come back, as we're going to take a quick break. Stick with us here at Nashville.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
But you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
3 by 3.
Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution.
Back to Nashville Superspeedway as we get ready to get back to green flag racing here for stage 2. See if we can get a quick word here with your stage winner, Justin Parham. Hey Justin, this is Austin up in the booth. Actually, give me just a moment. Realize that he cannot hear me with the way something is set up right now. And so we may not be able to get a word from Justin here. And yeah, since they're going back green, we had an issue. Looks like we'll go ahead and hold off here, put Justin back down as they're getting ready to go back green. We'll see if we can maybe get a word with him later, depending on how the rest of this race goes, so apologize for that. But either way, Parham, of course, won the stage, and he's going to restart on the front row as the leader again here for stage 2. And it's Chase Greer in second, Keith Prince third, with Grant Turner back in fourth. Then you've got Joey Hickox fifth, Jay Stinson in sixth, Jonathan Herbert seventh, David Traylor eighth, Matthew Fritz in ninth, John Bawalda Jr. rounding out your top 10. Sam Batwell, final truck in the field right now, currently sitting in 11th, is here we go. Next stage break will be at the end of lap 75. That'll be exactly 36 laps away from now. Green flag is back in the air at Nashville. And it's a good restart for the 19 of Justin Parham. He'll lead them down towards turn number 1 and lead them off at turn number 2 as well. And I think these restarts, ooh, man, big wiggle right there from the 3 of Joey Hickox. How about that for a wicked save? And I was getting ready to say, I think these restarts are going to get really aggressive, especially the one for the final stage, because, I mean, we haven't seen, many yellows here tonight. We had the one earlier, accidental, and, man, we almost had number 2 right there is Joey Hickox really struggling on these cold tires to get any grip out of that truck. Looks like he's able to finally get it back together now through 1 and 2. He'll sort it out and try to put his head back down to catch back up. But the problem for Joey Hickox is we saw the speed that he had there at the end of the stage. The problem was he had to go through a lot of trucks to get to that position. So by the time he got to that second spot, he'd already burned out his tires and made it a lot tougher to try to pass Justin Parham. And now he's going to be in the same boat again after falling back here so much on short run that even if he's got speed in the long run, the amount of trucks he's going to have to pass to get back up to these leaders, he's going to wear out his stuff too much to really have a chance at it. Meanwhile, Keith Prince, Chase Greer still side by side. Greer going to try to get clear here on the outside, and he'll be able to do so. Keith Prince just behind him running a lane lower. Chase Greer, first truck now that we're seeing trying to work this outside, and look at this. The 8 is actually going to pull alongside the 19 of Justin Parham down the straightaway. So Chase Greer, has he found a little something here on the outside? Ooh, trouble. Keith Prince, can he hold on to this one? Yes, he does. Wow, that was another close call and a big save. This time it was the one of Keith Prince, who looked like they got down in the corner, just started to get tight. Truck started to wash up on him. And it was Grant Turner who was on his outside here. Watch this from the chopper view. As Keith Prince going to take a shallow entry, and then the truck just washes up. Never really makes it down to the yellow. And as he gets into Grant Turner, that thing gets sideways on him. Good save. Along with Grant Turner, good save as well. And oh, Keith Prince almost has the same issue right as we go back to live. Man, this one truck that has shown good speed early, though, is really, really struggling right now, being stuck on the inside when he's got a truck to his outside. So for Prince here, he's going to have to take a breather. It's almost a similar situation to what happened with Joey Hickox, where a couple mistakes in just a couple laps has sent him just about all the way to the back of this 11-car group now. Meanwhile, back up front, Chase Greer is back to being side by side with your leader. This time, though, he's on the inside. And Greer might be able to make it work. Not that time. Justin Parham, enough momentum to hold even. Grant Turner, he'll get up to these two. And again, I asked the question, what will the 93 do here to contribute to the battle? Does he just sit back and watch, hope these guys burn up their stuff? Or does he try to maybe entice them or maybe push the envelope a little more by seeing if he can't push one of them in front? And he's not going to have to worry about it, because Chase Greer, first time to the lead here tonight, takes the point down the front stretch. And even though Chase got clear, he chose not to jump up yet, staying very respectful of the 19 of Justin Parham. And at some point here, I know if you're Chase, you're trying to be nice, but you don't want to give that 19 a chance to potentially grab that clean air back. So if you're Chase Greer here, when he gets clear, he really needs to think about jumping up here before Justin Parham's able to kind of counteract here and maybe find a way to get back around the 8 car. And again, Greer gets clear. You see him dive all the way down below that yellow line on the front stretch, utilizing every portion of the racetrack. But he chooses not to jump up. Now the 8 gets a little bit tight under the 19 of Parham, and now Parham all of a sudden fighting back on the outside. Will he get back clear? Yes, he does. That was the concern I had for Chase Greer. You mess around a little bit too long, staying side by side with the guy after getting clear a few times. This is what can happen. And now you wonder for Chase Greer, will he get another chance at it here on the stage to get back up here and try to make a pass on the 19 machine? So that could be a tough break there, but further back, some more side-by-side action here with one of the Venom Racing drivers and one of the Grandstand Racing drivers. That's David Traylor and Matthew Fritz. And we've seen David Traylor in the trucks here at this track before perform pretty well. So again, I think he continues to be kind of the surprise of the night. Unfortunately, it's for the wrong reasons. He's up 3 positions total from where he started this race at, which was in that last position in 11th. But I just really expected that we would have saw this 54 truck well inside the top 5, maybe inside the top 3 by now. In this race, that's just not been the case. John Bowalda Jr. has also been struggling for some speed. The good news for that 5 truck, though, right now is, you know, with only 11 people in this race, where he stands in points, I take that back. I guess the good news is he's got a better shot of winning with the fact that there's only, 11 people in this race. But the problem is, with where he stands, he still has to win. And even if it is only 11, I can think of probably at least 4 to 5 of these 11 trucks that are really, really fast here tonight. And I just don't know if the 5 truck has been able to find that sort of speed, at least not yet. And he still has a stage caution. You can't make any physical adjustments to the truck as it is fixed setups, but you can certainly change the way you drive it. Try a couple things new. So we'll have to see if John Bowalda is able to do anything of that nature, or potentially we get a late restart, some chaos, wins it off a strategy. Can't rule that out of the realm of possibilities. And it is now 51 of 160 laps complete here at Nashville. And of those 160 laps complete, we've had a couple cautions so far. One, of course, for the stage break, and then one for an issue involving Jay Stinson. Those have been the only 2 incidents we've seen here tonight. And the Stinson issue, of course, was right at the start of the race on lap 3. And then everything was clean until we had that stage caution. And then so far here in stage 2, it's been more of the same, with most of the racing and most of the action really being at the front of the field between these top 3, top 5, depending on who's been where. And right now, Grant Turner trying to close the gap on these front 2, which are 2 of the round of 16 playoff drivers. Jay Stinson, great recovery by Stinson. Continue to talk about it. And he actually did this last night in the Asphalt Outlaws Racing Xfinity Series, had a phenomenal recovery after being involved in a couple incidents, getting damage. He stuck with it, was able to get himself back on the lead lap, and I wonder if that momentum maybe carried over a little bit here tonight. And if the 2 truck can get a top 3 finish, you got to feel like that's going to, I don't know if I'd say feel like a win, but certainly feel like everything Stinson would have wanted to do coming into this race here tonight. Here's the one of Keith Prince, Jonathan Herbert. They now go side by side as we'll hop on the onboard view here for Jonathan Herbert. There's the roll bar shot. You can hear, and look at his wheel. Look how far left he's got it. Scrubbing off the front tires right now, trying to do everything he can to get these tires to not wear out quite as bad. But man, the 87 of Herbert, how about a season he's had? Another driver that I feel like is kind of, flew under the radar for the most part. Of course, he doesn't have a win. And so you say, okay, well, what was his journey? Then how did he get to the playoffs? Well, he got it by consistency and overall good finishes. So for the 87, that can take you pretty far in the playoffs. Now, granted, once you get to the round of 8, the transition to the round of 4 is a lot tougher, and it usually becomes more likely that you're going to have to get a win unless you're one of the top 2 in points going into the round of 8, if you want to make it to the round of 4, that is. So we'll see if Herbert can make something happen. There is some opportunistic tracks in the next round, the round of 8, that, I mean, not just Herbert, but a couple of drivers that are going to need a good run, a really good run, maybe a win to lock themselves into the next round after that, are going to be circling on their calendars as something they can maybe take advantage of. As the 8 of Chase Greer, one thing he's not been able to do yet is take advantage of what looks to be a little bit better tires right now than Justin Parham. I mean, he's running right on the back bumper. That's got to tell me that he's found a little bit more grip, but just can't seem to make that pass. And again, he had the opportunity for a little while towards about the first 6 to 7 laps after the first 6 to 7 laps that we completed in this stage. That was when he really started to find that speed and got to the inside of Justin Parham, had a chance to get around him, but just wasn't able to quite capitalize on it. And since then, he's just kind of been sitting in second, running pretty close, but fortunately not quite close enough just yet. By the way, if you're just tuning in and you've been watching here tonight, again, we appreciate you coming out. I am still recovering a little bit from being sick, so if I sound a little stuffy or the voice is cracking a little bit more than usual, I certainly apologize for it, but wanted to get out here and still make sure that we got these guys a good broadcast here tonight. As each race of the playoffs, we know the intensity. And I'll tell you what, we have seen just historically here in the NOMA Truck Series, and then, you know what, actually, in fact, that's what I'll do. I'll keep it just to the NOMA Truck Series. We have seen some pretty chaotic and crazy finishes at Nashville Superspeedway here in the NOMA Truck Series, and we've also seen some chaotic finishes just in the playoffs in general here in the NOMA Truck Series. So if you're somebody out there watching, you're interested in joining for next season or even maybe the rest of the regulars or the rest of this season, we do have the link to their Discord in the description of this video, so make sure that you hop in there, check it out, see if it's something you want to try, as I know they'll be putting some recruiting effort into next season before they get things started. And really, you know, this season for NOMA Motorsports as a whole was a little bit of an interesting setup with, of course, the Super Speedway League temporarily, at least for now, kind of going out of business strictly to just not really enough recruiting during the off season and not enough interest. And I think that it's, you know, maybe a little bit of a phase two partially right now, the fact that, you know, the NASCAR season was still going on. It's coming to a conclusion, though. And so that certainly gets your hopes up for everybody kind of getting back into iRacing over the off season. The NOMA Truck Series hoping to pick up some traffic for the start and really the entirety of next season. And then we'll see if NOMA is able to get another series kicked off again at some point. As further back, a little bit of 2x2 again here. Joey Hickox, after the troubles early, you wondered if maybe he decided to just hang back and try to save some of his stuff here for a little while. As, thought I heard one truck really sliding around there through 3 and 4, but doesn't seem like it. The point I was getting ready to make is you wonder if Hickox had been saving a little tire back here after he had, you know, fallen back further than he would have liked on the restart, and maybe just setting up here to try to run these guys down towards the end of the stage. He's going to have to hurry it up, though, because right now he sits back in 7th. And that's over 4 seconds back from your leader, Justin Parham. And remember, Chase Greer had a lot of speed in stage 1, but he was, to a degree, I don't want to say stuck, but he was kind of content with just sitting behind his teammate Joey Hickox to see if Hickox could make something happen. But of course, so far in this stage, Hickox not up here, so it's been Chase Greer's turn to kind of shine in that spotlight. To get around Parham here at some point, I think he's going to have to change a little something up. I mean, the 8 car continues to run in the wake, and he's staying close, but you almost get that sense and that feeling that he's fading just slightly further back as the run continues to go on. And they'll be right at about 35, 36 laps on a fuel and tire run when we get to the end of this stage. And if I had to guess, 75% fuel at this track, I would think that they could probably make it somewhere to about 40, I think would be my best guess. Somewhere right around lap 40, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. And so if that's the case, they're going to be getting pretty close to what would be the end of a normal tire run. And these trucks certainly hurting for handling, maybe not in terms of being loose as much. It's certainly starting to get tight. As talk about track temp and how cool it was earlier at 69 degrees. Look at what it is now. It is 70, so it didn't cool down anymore. Of course, that 1 degree bump up isn't going to have much of an effect on anything. But a night race at Nashville Superspeedway, I mean, what else can you ask for? One of the coolest events that we have on the season. And Nashville's really been a track that's kind of been a staple over the last couple seasons, and it's provided some, you know, great racing in terms of strategy, in terms of these long green flag runs where guys have to work different lanes as the tires really start to wear out. And here's Joey Hickox to the inside of Jonathan Herbert. Still has not been able to complete this pass just yet. And right as I say that, looks like Joey Hickox will finally be able to complete that pass. And so as Hickox now goes to the points for that battle, he moves himself up cumulatively to the 6th position. And now he'll set his sights on Keith Prince, who sits about a second ahead currently where Joey Hickox runs. And then it's Grant Turner and Jay Stinson here that are side by side. That's the battle for that final podium position, 3rd. And as those two continue to battle, they're watching the two battle up front. As boy, Grant Turner, he really slipped up right there. That was close to being a big issue between those two, and that's been the trouble of the inside. And I don't remember if you remember me saying briefly in the earlier part of this race that if you pin a guy on the bottom enough, it's going to be tough to do. And I think on fresh tires and a cool track like this one, you can still make that bottom be faster than the top. But then as the tires start to wear out, the truck wants to slide up. You got to be really careful if you're on the inside with somebody on your outside, because if they pinch you down, you got a choice. You're either going to wreck both trucks, and of course that includes yourself, or you're going to have to lift out of it, as front grip tends to go away quick here. But right now for the 8 of Chase Greer, still sitting within half a second, but it's went from about 0.2 of a second now back to about 0.3 of a second. And when they cross the line this time, looks like it'll officially be 8 laps to go here in stage 2. And so for Justin Parham here, he's going to be looking for the sweep, and in order to get the sweep, you got to, of course, win both stages before you set your sights up on trying to win the race. And I do think Parham has looked maybe a little bit better, a little bit more disciplined here so far through stage 2, but it's hard to say because he looked good through both. And either way, if you're the 19 right now, Justin Parham, you've already got that confidence from getting the win at Texas, and now this is just kind of icing on the cake. Certainly, though, playoff points are a big deal as you go through the rounds, so any stage points that you can get, and it'll certainly help your chances as well, as it is now 69 of 160 laps complete. And so when they cross the line this next time, it'll officially be just 6 laps to go here in stage 2. Chase Greer now back to, again, half a second. We saw it at 2/10 just a couple laps ago. Grant Turner, Stinson, they're still bumper to bumper. Then it looks like David Traylor has found his way around Joey Hickox. That puts Traylor up to 6th. You've got Matthew Fritz back in the 8th spot. Jonathan Herbert's in 9th. And Sam Boutwell currently rounds out your top 10. Justin Parham, you see him moving up the entry to the corner just a little bit. I'm not sure if that's what he chose to do or if that's the way the truck's kind of forced him to adjust, the way the handling might be changing. Let's watch on board here. And by the way, I've had a chance to run this track in the Xfinity car a few times. Never the truck, but the idea with the Xfinity car is that you get really, really loose, especially on corner exit. So it's even more interesting here, I would say, for Justin Parham and really everybody else in the field, that these trucks have a tendency to get tight before they get loose. But see, Justin Parham still running a pretty solid line. Looks like he was able to get the truck down to the apex of the corner. The problem was on exit right there, and that was a pretty big slip up, enough to bring Chase Greer back to within 0.3 of a second now. And Chase Greer is going to have exactly 4 laps to go here to try to make something happen. The 8 car looks pretty good, but right now the 19's just a little bit better. There's Grant Turner back in the 3rd spot, Jay Stinson 4th, Keith Prince in 5th. You've got David Traylor in 6th with Joey Hickox 7th. Matthew Fritz is in 8th. Jonathan Herbert in 9th, and Sam Boutwell currently rounding out your top 10. All right, well, as Parham crosses the line this next time, it'll now be just 3 laps to go here in stage number 2. And if you're Justin Parham here, I would normally say, was there any thought of maybe trying to go in a lap or 2 sooner than the end of the stage, try to flip track position to get yourself set up for the end? But with the way tires and everything else have been wearing here tonight, I think he's okay to stay out, obviously go for these stage points, and then I think you'll see everybody come down for fuel and tires on that yellow flag pit stop when we get to it. So if you're Justin Parham right now, this is more just about trying to survive here. Hold off Chase Greer, hold off Grant Turner, and come on with a stage win here before you go in and get full service, get anything fixed that you might need to get fixed, and get back out and get set up for what looks like will probably be about an 80-lap run to the checkered flag for that final stage. So Justin Parham now off of turn 2. Still clean. Truck looks like it is handling very well. When he crosses the line this time around, it'll officially mark just 1 lap to go here in the stage. And you wonder, does the 8 of Greer have one more push, one more lunge here? Anything to try to get back to the 19 before he gets back to this green and white checkered. Here we go, white flag in the air for stage 2. Justin Parham, see, taking that nice wide entry, that nice wide approach, if you will, to try to get down to the apex around the middle of the corner. Ooh, and he may have got just a little bit tight right there. That's not going to be enough, though, for Chase Greer to close it up anymore. Justin Parham just looking for one more good set of corners. It looks like he is going to get him off of turn number 4, the 19 of Justin Parham. He took stage 1, had great speed here in stage 2, and so he'll go back-to-back as he wins stage 2 at Nashville. All right, well, there you go for Justin Parham. Driver out of Boiling Springs, South Carolina. Sweeps both stages here tonight at Nashville. And so I guess that will give us a chance to go ahead and try to talk to him again, as long as we don't have any technical issues this time. But what a run so far by Justin Parham. I mean, it's not been easy. He's had to fend off a couple of really, really good drivers here tonight, including Chase Greer during that last run. But ultimately, the 19 was able to prevail. And so now the field will catch the pace car, bring it down for full service, fuel and tires. And so as they do, we're going to go ahead and take another quick break. But when we get back, we'll get an interview with your Stage 2 winner, Justin Parham. Stick with us here at Nashville.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing.
Three by three.
Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Welcome back to the Blue Ridge Auto Group 160. Live from Nashville Superspeedway. Again, Stage 2 wrapped up. If you missed it, Justin Parham got the Stage 2 win, along with the Stage 1 win, of course, earlier. So let's see if we can bring him up here, see how he's feeling right now. Hey, Justin, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, we wanted to talk to you at the end of stage number 1, but we had some technical issues, so didn't get the opportunity to. But man, you sweep the stages. The trucks look pretty fast, but at the same time, you've been having to fend off a couple of really good drivers tonight. What's kind of been going through your head through these first 2 stages?
Well, I've been trying to save tire while holding the lead. So I'll try to run harder when they get there. But it's still kind of hard to save the tire while leading and maintain the lead.
Yeah, it certainly is. I mean, we've seen it look like a lot of trucks, including yourself, were starting to get tight as the run went on. But, you know, now that we're in the final stage here, we're going to look to break this thing up into at least 1 stop, maybe 2. I'm not sure exactly how much fuel you guys have. But, I mean, overall, how does the game strategy, how does it change here? Do you do the same thing? Do you try to save tire, maintain the lead, or do you maybe try to save a little bit more tire and give up that lead if you have to here?
I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I'm gonna probably try to do the same thing I've been doing, and we'll see how that works. If I have to, I can I can let somebody go and save a little tire.
Well, you've already got a win in the round of 16. You're looking good, obviously, to advance to the next round, but certainly a boost of momentum wouldn't hurt here tonight. So good luck the rest of the way, and again, congrats on the stage 1 and 2 win.
Thank you.
All right, there you go. Justin Parham will put him back down with his 2 Grandstand Racing teammates in the field here tonight, Sam Boutwell and David Traylor, as Parham will have the field in control here for this restart. Chase Greer to his outside, then it'll be Grant Turner in the 93. David Traylor back in 4th. Jay Stinson rounding out your top 5. Keep an eye on that bright yellow truck. Yeah, this is the first time we've seen Traylor get up inside the top 5 here tonight. Big opportunity here for the 54. Has he maybe finally found some speed? We're getting ready to find out. Parham wants to hold the lead, but if he has to give it up, he said he will. Let's see what happens here as the final stage at Nashville Superspeedway is underway. Green flag is back in the air. And it's a good restart for Justin Parham in the 19. He'll get out to enough of a jump to get clear by about 3 or 4 truck lengths. And again, this stage is a pretty long one, obviously, compared to the 2 stages that we had before this. So really got to settle in here. You have got to be disciplined and make sure you save your stuff. That's all going to start, though, with getting a good restart and getting as many positions as you can here on these first couple laps. David Traylor trying to do that here. He's looking for 3rd. Not sure if he's going to get it, though. Chase Greer's got the momentum in the preferred lane on the outside. And now Greer's going to have a little bit of help from a teammate, potentially Jay Stinson, who's rocking and rolling just behind. David Traylor gets clear, and right there, the move that he just pulled on Chase Greer, that was the move I felt like Chase Greer needed to try to make on Justin Parham earlier there in the 2nd stage when the 8 drew even. And now Chase Greer is going to try it back here. This time he'll get the inside. But what David Traylor did, and again, I know it's, you know, kind of ironic because now he's getting passed, or not getting passed, but getting raced side by side again, but he'll get back clear, and the idea was he had to slide it up a little bit through the center of the corner to get clear of Chase Greer, and he did that. Take away the air, take away the momentum of that 8 truck, and by doing so, you can kind of stall out any crossover move that's going to happen. Of course, Chase was able to make it that time, but it is on new tires. But once you get on older tires, that move that we just saw David Traylor make becomes a lot more effective. So keep an eye on for the 54 to maybe try that here on a couple of others as he continues to try to march to the front now on the back bumper of Grant Turner. Turner not going to take the inside here into turn number 1. He'll open the door for David Traylor. Grant Turner on the outside, not as much speed as Justin Parham right now, but the 93 truck certainly going to try to hold on to 2nd here for as long as he can. And David Traylor on the 54 as he continues to wrap the bottom of the racetrack here. I mean, this truck all of a sudden looks like it's got a burst of speed that we really didn't see until this point here tonight. So if you're a David Traylor fan, this is what you came to see. And I feel like he's done this before. We've heard him a couple times. He'll have a good run in a race, finish on the podium, and he says, yeah, I really didn't get a chance to practice here. Kind of just went and learned throughout the first couple stages and then had some speed in the 3rd one when it mattered. And it looks like right now it seems to be the case. Chase Greer in the 8 truck back to 4th again. I wonder if he's maybe just saving tire right now and purposely not necessarily pushing the pace too much. And then Jay Stinson back in 5th, trying to catch his teammate. Joey Hickok's trying to do the same as he sits back in 6th. And you've got Keith Prince in 7th. Jonathan Herbert in 8th. Herbert going to try to put some pressure here on the back bumper of Keith Prince. Matthew Fritz is there. That makes it a 3-truck trio, all trying to battle for that 7th spot. And I'll tell you what, that first pit stop, if I had to guess, and again, we said it was going to be kind of borderline between 1 or 2 stops. We know they can make it 35 laps on fuel. If they can make it to 40 laps on fuel, then they can make this a 1 stop from here. And of course, we would expect to see that next and final pit stop right on lap, I would say right about lap 100, and yeah, probably 120 actually, rather. Yeah, right around lap 120 is the mark you're trying to hit if you're any driver that's trying to make it on a 1 stop. So we'll have to see if they can go 40 laps. Best math I can do to compare is the trucks on a normal 1.5 miles, I would expect to be able to make probably close to 50 laps on 100% fuel. This track's a little bit shorter, and of course they're on 75% fuel. So 40 laps is going to be pushing that envelope quite a bit. But we'll see if it's possible. If they have to pit any sooner than that, then that would mean it's most likely going to be a 2-stop, and that throws a little bit of tire strategy into the mix in terms of what you take on 1 stop versus what you take on the other. Oh man, Jonathan Herbert, big wiggle right there, and he almost slid up into the 29 of Matthew Fritz. Wow, was this close? Watch 3 and 4 here is the 87. Not sure if he hits the apron or does he just get tight. Let's see. It's down, and he might have bumped the apron right there. Either way, when that truck shoots up, that's a scary, scary moment. Watch the 87 here. Does he bump the apron? I think he does. Right there. Yeah, just a brief. I mean, the briefest of bumps. But you got to remember that the front splitter on these race trucks is so low to the ground that when you hit the apron, you go from, on-track banking to the apron, that splitter bottoms out. It hits the pavement, concrete, I should say, and that has a tendency to shoot the truck up the track. And again, Matthew Fritz, very lucky on the outside there to not get clipped by the 87, and a good job by Jonathan Herbert to at least keep it down and manageable to not get into that 29 truck. So it's 90 laps officially in the books of 160, and we still have about a 7, more so I'd say about a 5 truck race for the lead, and they are all still within a second of each other. Joey Hickok's trying to close in on this 5-car lead pack. He sees his teammate Jay Stinson up here, but I mean, really for David Traylor up to second now, going to be looking for the lead here, and that is his teammate in Justin Parham. Both of them have a win in this round. The question is who's going to take the third and final race of the round. So Justin Parham, it looked to me like he may have been pushing the issue a little bit more on this restart. But who knows, maybe the 93 just didn't quite have as much pace as we saw the 8 have in stage 2, and maybe that's why it looked that way. Either way, though, David Traylor showing a lot of patience, and boy, Turner, he had to show a lot of patience himself right there, as that was a big checkup going down into turn 1. Grant Turner, I did not think was prepared for how big of a checkup that was going to be with David Traylor. And so now Grant trying to get back in position here to go set up for another move. You can see Turner getting on the throttle a little bit sooner. He got really tight right there. And that might cost Grant a position here. Chase Greer's got to run. Will he try to make a move here? And nothing that time. Chase Greer looked like he took a quick peek out. Maybe was going to see if he could get Grant Turner to bite and go to the inside of the racetrack, but Grant Turner did not fall for it. And so nice job right there by Grant Turner to not fall for the pump fake. This time, though, Chase Greer is going to do it for real as he does get to the inside. And this would be the final podium spot that they're battling for at the moment as the 2 of Jay Stinson watches from just about a truck length behind. And it'll be 95 of 160 laps complete when they cross the line next time. And the 1 of Keith Prince right now currently finds himself in the 7th spot, down 2 from where he started. And if you remember, Keith had really, really good short run speed at the start of this race. Not sure what's happened since. Joey Hickok's proved that he had really good long run speed earlier on in the race in stage 1 there. Of course, got a 2nd place finish, but then stage 2 had issues early. Fell way back, spent the rest of the stage trying to recover. And now here in stage 3, he's got himself in 6th, trying to catch up to the lead group. But if he can either get there or get one caution to get him there that way, Joey Hickok's could potentially be back in this fight as well. For David Traylor, who sits in 2nd, he's doing a little bit of both, trying to fend off anybody from splitting up. The 1-2 running order right now for Grandstand Racing, and at the same time, trying to track down and see if he can't get by the 19 of Parham himself. The other strategy here, of course, for Traylor, and really anybody, is just stay as close as you can to this 19 truck until we get to that first pit stop. First and only pit stop is the idea, at least, which we expect to be around lap 120, if they can indeed make it on a 1-stop. Justin Parham in the 19 right now, he is easily led the most laps here tonight. I mean, it's not even close. And at this point, if somebody else took over the lead, I still don't know if they'd be able to lead more laps than he's led so far tonight. And Parham started on the pole, of course, and he's been able to keep that truck up there pretty much ever since. But when you have that pit stop, that's where things can change. Sometimes it's pit strategy that throws everybody off. David Traylor, maybe he tries to pit a lap or 2 sooner than his teammate, see if he can beat him on tire strategy. Maybe somebody a little bit further back here, Grant Turner, Chase Greer, Stinson, maybe one of them try to short pit it, or maybe on the opposite route, maybe somebody tries to go a lot longer, and then they're the one that can play offense at the end of a race. It's just all going to be about, what kind of time deltas we see on new tires versus old tires. This is the kind of lap times we're seeing right now from your front 2. Justin Parham, 30.451 the last lap, running about 30.5 the lap before that. And David Traylor, 30.4s, almost 30.5s the last 2 laps for him as well. And if you compare that, just to give you an idea here of how much tire wear is, and again, we're only about halfway through this tire run. The pole lap was just under 30 seconds, so it's already been I would say about half a second to 3/4 of a second worth of fall off that we have seen just in this run so far. So it's probably a second at least to maybe a second and a half worth of fall off. New tires versus really old tires. That's the advantage, of course, that you could see by short pitting, or the advantage you see at the end of a long run by deciding to stay out. But for Justin Parham and David Traylor here, I think their main goal is just to try to stay in control of this field the best that they can. And in order to do that, they want to see more of this. Chase Greer, Grant Turner going at it 2x2. Chase Greer on the outside, and this has really been an overall pretty good night for Chase, I will say. I mean, the 8 truck has shown a lot of speed, and he's been battling a couple different guys for position. It seems like he's been able to make the inside and the outside line work, although I think he's been maybe a little bit better on that outside here tonight when he's had it. So Chase Greer gets clear of Grant Turner. That will now move him up to that 3rd position. So Grant Turner, who currently sits in 2nd. Ooh, man. Turner tried to slide up in front of Stinson right there, but just couldn't quite make it happen. As we're now officially over the 100 lap mark here at Nashville Superspeedway. So that means it is officially now 60 laps to go. Just about 10 laps under the distance that we ran total for Stage 1 and Stage 2. At least under green flag laps, that is. And so 60 laps to go. This is where you're really starting to think about what decision you're going to make. Again, we expect it to be about 20 laps or so until that pit stop for a one-stopper from here. So if you're just tuning in, you picked a good time to do so. Things are starting to get a little bit more interesting here at Nashville Superspeedway. We're going to take another break, but we'll go side by side so you don't miss a thing. Stick with us as Justin Parham leads the way at Nashville.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive. Especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
But you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Green flag is in the air. We are racing. Three by three. Almost no trouble. Around goes Alex Hill. On into the outside wall goes Hill. They're wrecking big time out back. We're not going to throw a caution. Finish. Who gets it in the line? Cody Nagels wins it in Talladega.
Welcome back to Nashville Superspeedway. The Blue Ridge Auto Group 160 continues to close in on the latter half of this race. 107 of 160 laps now complete. You saw it all on non-stop. No change for the lead as Justin Parham continues to lead his Grandstand Racing teammate David Traylor. Chase Greer back in 3rd. There's Jay Stinson in 4th, and Joey Hickox currently rounding out your top 5. And as this continues to go on up front, I did want to go and actually take a look at what we're looking at in terms of the schedule for the rest of the playoffs. So again, tonight, the final race in the round of 16, an elimination race, as next week we'll kick off the round of 8 at Chicagoland, and that'll kind of kick off the streak of mile and a half that'll round out the season, because after that we head to Sin City for what's going to be 155 laps at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and then it's off to Homestead, Miami for 135 laps. That's going to be a fun track to watch. Part of me almost wishes I was racing in that one. It's going to be a fun one for sure. And then the Championship 4 race going to be at Old Atlanta this season. And again, that championship event will be on December 14th. So looking forward to that as well. All right, so as we go back live now, again, 109 of 160 laps complete. That means that we're expecting these pit stops in just about 10, I'd say 10 laps time from now or so, is when we should see drivers start to come in, unless you're coming in a little bit sooner. But once they hit that lap 120 mark, that's when you can officially say they're going to be good to go on fuel on a one-stopper. And so 10 laps from now, Justin Parham going to continue to slowly expand this gap out that he's got, as long as he doesn't accidentally make a mistake and burn his tires up here, start sliding them. I think he's going to be good to at least hold on to the lead until we get to the pit sequence. You see track temp is now back down to 69 degrees as it is now. Looks like officially 8:07 sim time here at Nashville Superspeedway. We talked about the fall off here in terms of lap times. Let's see if it's changed any more since then. Yeah, it has. They're now in the upper 30s, almost to a 31-second lap time. So that fall off is now almost back to about a second or so. And so new tires certainly going to make an advantage here for whoever can take advantage of them first, I should say. For David Traylor here, as he's trying to track down his teammate, he's going to have to keep an eye here on the 8 of Chase Greer. Greer's been staying close, and the other thing that I've been kind of watching Chase Greer do, and we'll hop on board, see if I can show you kind of what I'm talking about here, is watch what he does here as they get down into the corner. He tries to do something just a little bit different. It was more so noticeable in 1 and 2, not as much through 3 and 4, at least not this time around. Let's see if he does it again through 1 and 2, but the big thing that Chase Greer has to try to do is just take a little bit of a different line than David Traylor, because when he follows in the wake, he gets caught in the dirty air. And so there you go. Notice how he takes that little bit longer of an apex before he gets down to the center of the corner. And what that does is allows him to get a little bit more clean air on the right side of the nose of that truck. And the more clean air he can get, the more grip he's going to, of course, have, at least in the front end of that truck. And he did a little bit that time in 3 and 4, and then once he arcs it down, of course, the dirty air not affecting him quite as much at that point. Further back, a little bit of 2x2 here. Has almost 3 wide for just a moment. That's the 93 Grant Turner on the inside. Joey Hickox on the outside. Keith Prince looking to see if he can maybe split the middle here. Oh, man, Grant Turner thought he was going to get a little bit loose right there off the corner. Keith Prince, though, doesn't look like was able to take advantage just yet. Joey Hickox, by the way, we talked about maybe the one spot that you would have to keep an eye on here for, a change maybe after the race here tonight from drivers that were potentially in position or potentially not in position to advance was going to be between Joey Hickox and Sam Boutwell. Boutwell just outside looking in. Joey Hickox just inside right now, that playoff picture. So Boutwell currently sitting back in 10th. Hickox, of course, up in 5th. You can pretty much do the math there. Hickox in a much better position. And at least as of right now, looks like he is in position to advance, assuming nothing goes wrong. But with still 45 laps left in this race, certainly got to be careful with what we say. We don't want to give Joey a jinx. And so, good run for him, though, nonetheless, making the comeback after some trouble earlier. Joey Hickox still down 2 from where he started. He had great speed here tonight, but just trying to get back after digging that hole and getting himself buried deep in traffic. Jay Stinson, by the way, who was involved in that early incident, the only caution we had for incident here of the night. He's also done a good job recovering, has himself running inside the top 5, currently 4th, trying to chase down his teammates. Chase Greer, who is in 3rd. And it's just, it's kind of interesting to me how it's almost the same kind of spread in the same time frame. Pretty much every stage that we've seen so far and every green flag run we've seen so far where, we see that group of single file trucks all stay pretty close together for I'd say about the first 20, maybe to 30 laps or so. And then they just start to slowly but surely spread out more and more. As the tires start to wear out, the draft doesn't affect or doesn't help you out as much, and of course hurts you even more in the corners as you start to run out of tires. So Justin Parham Went from basically no gap on his teammate to David Traylor. Then he got it up to about 0.2 of a second. Then it went to 3, then 4. Next thing you know, now he's sitting here with about a 0.7 of a second lead over David Traylor. And the bigger he builds that lead, the more conservative he can be for that pit stop. And the other thing that you got to remember here at Nashville is pit road's a little bit tricky. Getting into the pits, maybe not the hardest thing in the world. I don't believe you have to take the access roads. Uh-oh. Look who decided to bring it in right here, Chase Greer. All right, so that may answer that question in terms of fuel mileage. I believe they're all still going to be good to go on a one-stop. I think that what Chase Greer might be doing here is going basically at the start of the window or as soon as that fuel window opened up so that he can, of course, take fresher tires. Oh, what has happened here? Chase Greer has temporarily blinked out for us. He is not being scored anywhere. There he is. The 8 blinks back in here. Did he overshoot his box a little bit? Nope. Looks like he's okay, so let's see what the call is here for Chase Greer and how does everybody else react. Looks like it's going to be 4 tires and fuel, as David Traylor has also decided to pit now. So the 54 comes a lap later than Chase Greer. We'll have to see how much of a difference that makes, as this was the thing I was getting ready to mention. Entrance here on the pit's not too bad. It's exit because you got to take that access road all the way around, and there's no banking there. It's a really tight radius. So you got to be really, really careful trying to get back up to speed here. I think he's going to be okay, though. And then David Traylor, same call as what we saw for the 8 car, 4 tires and fuel. As now here comes your leader, Justin Parham, right on the lap 120 mark. So again, I believe that all these drivers are going to be good to go here with just this pit stop that we're seeing now. And does anybody else decide to bring it in? Indeed they do. It'll be Keith Prince as well. And the only situation here where I guess fuel could potentially be a concern if you come in as early as possible, such as Chase Greer, would be if we had some overtimes at the end. Although with how spread out things are, I don't know if that's going to be much of a concern. Let's see if Stinson decides to bring it down this time. He will not. Chooses to stay out. Hickox does the same. So does Grant Turner, Matthew Fritz. But it looks like Jonathan Herbert, he will bring it down. As a big slide right there out of the 87 as he came off 4 on the flat. And Justin Parham still trying to get out of the pits. And you can see here that, you know, at Nashville, it's one of those tracks where when you pit, you're going to lose a lap. And so you just hope right now, if you're Justin Parham or really anybody, that the caution doesn't come out yet, because that would put you in a really bad spot. As there's David Traylor and Chase Greer. They're side by side, and they're going to have to go 3 wide here around the 19 of Justin Parham. Parham not quite able to hold it. Oh, man. Big slide right there to the 19 of Parham as he had to take a really shallow entry. They were 3 wide on corner entry. Oh, my goodness. How close was that? Man, what a save. Well, I guess I should say what a job to not get in to David Traylor and Chase Greer. Boy, that was almost really ugly for 3 of the fastest trucks all night. And now David Traylor, Chase Greer battling for what, you know, they're assuming could potentially be the win later on in this race. But if they battle too much here, remember Justin Parham already has a lap fresher tires than both of them. So any battle is just going to hurt him that much more, as now they catch Fritz in a bit of an awkward spot. That's going to force David Traylor to lift, slot in behind Chase Greer. That's exactly what Justin Parham wanted to see. As now the 19 is going to set up here to try to get a run around the outside of his teammate and maybe the 8 as well. Nothing doing just yet. I think it's still going to take a handful to a couple handful of laps here for the tire wear to really wear in, as here comes Jay Stinson. And I'll make his way out of the pits. And so if you're curious as to just how bad that fall off officially got here, well, let's go compare lap times for Justin Parham to the man who stayed out the longest there, which appears to be Grant Turner and Matthew Fritz. So how about that? 29.764, the last lap for Justin Parham. You compare that to a 31.4. That is closing in on almost a 2-second fall off per lap of new tires versus old tire. That shows you just how important they are here at Nashville Superspeedway. All right. So as Matthew Fritz and Grant Turner will make their final pit stops here, this will round out everybody who needed to make a pit stop. And when they come back out, they should cycle further towards the back, as sure enough, the lead will be handed over now officially to Chase Greer, who's looking for still his first win of the season. Greer right now sitting in front of the 54 of David Traylor. I think Traylor is obviously going to be a little bit better since he's got a lap fresher tires, but who knows, if Greer can fend him off long enough here, things could potentially start to even out. That, I think, would be kind of the big question mark. And at the same time, Justin Parham, I think he knows that he's in the catbird seat in the sense of he's got fresher tires than both of them. So he's going to stay nice and conservative here. He's going to let these two continue to race it out. And then as they've started to wear their stuff out, I think that's when the 19 is going to pounce. So, I mean, right now, if you're Chase Greer, your bed's made. The strategy worked out to get you that track position for the moment, but you're going to have to play pretty much the best defense you've played all season right here if you want this win. As, of course, Traylor and Parham working with fresher tires, and if you're David Traylor, you're kind of in the middle. You don't have the freshest stuff, but at the same time, you've got a little fresher tires than the 8. And then if you're Justin Parham, again, I feel personally at least like he's in the best spot right now, as the freshest tires, a couple laps more than Chase Greer. And so as soon as these two get to battling, watch for that 19 to try to make his move. But you got to be careful too. You don't want to wait too long here because it's going to be coming to just over 30 laps to go here. When we cross the line this time. It'll be 33 laps to go actually, as a matter of fact. And as we get closer and closer to the end of this race, handling's going to start to go away. These trucks will get tight. And that's when dirty air starts to affect you that much more. Chase Greer, again, we talked about, for Chase Greer, in terms of how the point standings are, he's 4th. So he's okay. He's good to go for the rest of the way in terms of he's not going to have to worry about not advancing to the round of 8. But it's more so he's still looking for, again, that first win of the season and the first win in the playoffs. As, here we go. David Traylor got a big run. He's going to make a move here down the front stretch off into turn 1. Is he going to try the slide job here? Can he dive it in deep, make it stick? 54 is going to try to get clear here on exit of 2. Does he get it? He doesn't. Not yet, at least. Chase Greer is going to be able to stay just enough alongside of him here to drag it back down the straight. Greer doesn't look like he's going to be able to pinch that 54 truck down in the corner, though. And so now David Traylor will go to the point. And maybe not. Again, David Traylor did what kind of critiqued Chase Greer for doing earlier when he got around Justin Parham, which was just not quite taking it soon enough. You got to be careful here. You don't want this 8 car staying alongside of you too long. If you do that, that's going to give Chase Greer the opportunity to potentially cross him over, and there it is. Traylor slid up, and that's a good call right there. If he didn't slide up, Greer would have got back to his outside again, and they would have stayed side by side for yet another corner, and actually, yes, they will. Boy, big run right there for Chase Greer. Where did that come from? So the 8 does stay side by side with the 54 yet again, as now Justin Parham going to close in on these two, and this is exactly what I think the 19 wanted to see. He was waiting for these two to get to battling, and now that they have, he is saying, go ahead, guys, keep it up, keep using those tires, and as soon as one of you fades back, I'll take one spot, and then I'll go take the other one. So we are now officially under 30 laps to go here at Nashville, and this is the race for the win if you're just tuning in. Chase Greer, David Traylor, Justin Parham all battling to see who's going to win the final race in the round of 16. Justin Parham has a win in the round, so does David Traylor, but Chase Greer does not. They're all good to go on fuel the rest of the way. They've taken their last set of tires. Traylor, fresher tires than Chase Greer. Parham, fresher tires than both of them. Chase still holding strong on this outside. You still wonder how long can this last. I mean, this is phenomenal stuff that we're seeing here at Nashville. Big question was how well this outside was going to be here tonight. Concrete oval opens up these lanes a little bit, but with how cool the track temp was, I don't think a lot of drivers expected it. Chase Greer just continues to fight, but maybe tap the outside wall, and that's all Justin Parham needed to see. The 19 is going to jump to the inside here of Chase Greer through 1 and 2. And now Parham's got the job, the task, if you will, of trying to get clear of the 8, and how hard will David Traylor battle his teammates? If Parham gets clear of the 8, that is, he'll set his sights on the 54. And that's the question that I'm kind of leaving is, how much will he battle him? They both want the win, but at the same time, they'd certainly like to see a 1-2 finish for Grandstand Racing here tonight. And oh man, Chase Greer may have gotten slightly squeezed into the wall right there. And oh no, caution. Caution is out. Trouble down the front stretch, you can hear it here. As it looks like that's Keith Prince in the wall. One more, is it Grant Turner? May have been here. Not showing any data or reports yet on exactly who was involved, but I saw a couple trucks slow. One of them, I believe, was Keith Prince, and oh man, this is going to completely change the complexity of this race. Late race caution, that's going to give us a green flag within 20 to go. Oh man, that has opened the opportunity, the door of opportunity, I should say, up for a whole lot of drivers. But before we talk about that, let's go back and look at this here. See what happens. This is on the front stretch. Oh, yikes. Oh my goodness. Wow. Massive airtime for Grant Turner down the front stretch after he got turned around by Keith Prince. And boy, this is an odd one. This is not something you see happen here too often. Watch as they come off the corner, though. You're going to see Keith Prince here. He's on the outside. I think Turner's just going to get tight. See Prince up the track. Well, That's tough to say. I don't know if Turner really got tight. It almost looked like Keith Prince, was he maybe coming down here a little bit? Maybe he wasn't, actually. Let's see. Prince slides up above the seam. Yeah, I don't know if Keith Prince was necessarily coming down either. I think that's just two guys side by side. And let's see here. Let's watch from Grant Turner's point of view. Does he get a little bit tight right here? Man, not really. Doesn't look like he gets tight. And at the same time, for Keith Prince, I don't believe he does either. Or I don't think he gets loose. I think it's just two guys racing really hard and just kind of the natural way that Turner slid up out of the corner. Maybe thought that Keith Prince would be a little bit higher. And then they get hooked together. There might have been, by the way, also just a little bit of netcode from what we saw from the chopper view at least. Watch it again here. As right here, I don't think they're actually hitting yet. There was going to be contact either way. Certainly make that argument. And then once he gets him turned around here into the wall, they're running pretty fast. And look at this thing start to lift. That's a wild looking view for Keith Prince, who then gets stuck in the outside wall for a little bit as Grant Turner, once he landed back on all four, I think he was okay. So Grant Turner actually, besides that initial hit, didn't take a lot of damage after that, but that first hit was a big one. Watch this. Truck gets turned around, and as it gets pointed here, it kind of gets wedged up and just enough to catch the air. And once it does, you see it start to lift off. Now, again, they're not going as fast here at Nashville Superspeedway as they do at, say, Talladega and Daytona. So that's why you didn't see that truck go all the way over. Just wasn't quite running fast enough. But he was still probably going here, probably about upper 150s, maybe 160 even, coming out of the corner. Try to show you this from a couple different angles here, and then sure enough, right as he hits, truck starts to go up. Keith Prince is kind of pushing him to keep that truck up, and then once it sets back down, we talked about it looked like he was okay from that point on. Here's what it looked like from the static view. So a pretty wild ride for Grant Turner to bring out what is just your second caution. Think about that, just your second caution for incident here tonight, but a big one because it is going to certainly change the way that this finish goes as we give you one more look at it right there. Just trying to see if we can get a better angle, but either way, there's the gearbox view, and I think Keith Prince gets the worst of that exchange. As we go back live now up front, David Traylor being scored as your leader. Our lights are still on the pace car. So David Traylor being scored as your leader. It's Joey Hickox second with Justin Parham in third. You've got Chase Greer back in fourth with Jay Stinson in fifth. Sam Boutwell sixth. Grant Turner in seventh with Keith Prince eighth. Jonathan Herbert ninth. Matthew Fritz in 10th. John Bawalda has been scored out of this race. Not sure what happened to Bawalda, but that will end his chances of advancing to the round of 8 officially. And so as the lights go off here, looks like this is going to set us up for a restart with, I thought it was going to be within 25 to go, but it looks like it's actually going to be with 22 laps to go. So again, everybody's good to go on fuel. But what was so interesting here was what call do you make for the pit stop? And the order got shaken up by who took what on this pit stop. But it wasn't too much of a surprising choice, I should say, as this is what pit road looked like here. Just before we go back to green, is saw David Traylor, Justin Parham, Chase Greer, Jay Stinson, Joey Hickox. All drivers that decided to bring it down here. And then if we speed it up for you here just a little bit, once they all eventually get down to their box, show you who takes what right here. Watch who comes out first. So they all get in. David Traylor, he's going to take, and he took at least rights. I believe he took, yeah, may have been all he took. It's going to be interesting to see either way. Maybe he meant to take 4. I don't know. Either way, David Traylor's being scored as a leader, so maybe he didn't. This is going to be exciting, though. We got different tire strategies. We got drivers that want to win. We got drivers that have already won, drivers that are good on short runs, long runs. But right now, it's going to be all about the short run because it will be 22 laps to go here in the Music City. Here we go. Back into the Geico restart zone we go. Green flag is back in the air at Nashville. And a great restart for David Traylor. That's all he needed to do. Joey Hickox got caught sleeping just a little bit as now Justin Parham going to try to take advantage here down into turn 1. Oh, man. I think Parham had to cut Hickox a little bit of a break right there. Oh, big hit in the outside wall. One car hard. That's Chase Greer. Oh, my goodness. That was a massive hit for Greer. His caution is now out. Not sure if it was for anybody else or just Chase Greer. It appears it was just for the 8 car. This thing's destroyed. You heard the engine go kaboom as soon as he hit the wall. And I don't know if he's got any right front quarter panel right now either, as he's trying to limp this thing back to the pits. Although, unfortunately for Greer here, I don't know if he's going to quite make it all the way. Unfortunately, it doesn't look like he will. So Chase Greer has to pay the tow bill. And yeah, you saw the right front damage there. This looked like a massive overcorrection from the small bit of it that I was able to catch there while we saw it live. Let's go back and watch it here, though, from the chopper view and see if that is indeed the case. So you see Chase Greer, he's second right here. As they get off into the corner, everything's okay here, everything's okay here, and then starts to get loose. That's exactly what it is. Massive overcorrection for the 8. Look at that hit. Pretty much blows all the components off the front of that truck off. And man, totals the engine. And of course, you saw the hood go flying. The quarter panel as well. And so we'll show you from the cockpit view. It's so easy to do. Cold tires, the truck has a tendency to get a little bit loose. And right here, starts to go, he's trying to correct, but just that little bit of an overcorrect. And you saw him put the wheel back to the left. But once you overcorrect it like that, it just doesn't matter. I mean, the damage is going to be done. And it's just hold on at that point. And for Sam Boutwell, watch how close this one was. Oh my goodness, the 47 just barely able to miss the 8, who again took a massive hit off the outside safer barrier. Speaking of that view for Sam Boutwell, let's show you what it looked like here. This is the cockpit view for Sam Boutwell. Watch it here and see for yourself just how close this one was. Man. And if he wins this race, he's going to be looking back to that moment there and the fact that he missed that. Man, it just does not get much closer than that. Here's what it looked like from TV2 for Chase Greer. This just starts to get loose right there, and then here's the big hit. And so that's going to really hinder the chances of Chase Greer now, as he'll have to obviously go in to use his fast repair, and this is going to put him at the back of the pack. And it's a shame, too, because he was one of the trucks that had looked really, really good here tonight. We saw him inside the top 3 for most of Stage 2 onward. Certainly not anymore after that right there. As we'll go back live, and now this will put us in a restart within 20 laps to go. So it's David Traylor currently being scored as your leader. Joey Hickox in second. Justin Parham back in third. Jay Stinson fourth, and Grant Turner currently rounding out your top 5. Well, for Jay Stinson, or excuse me, for Joey Hickox, who sits in second right now, talked about the position he's in. He's got to be feeling pretty good, though, right now in second, knowing that he's got a shot to win. Let's see how he's feeling. Hey, Joey, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, I mean, here we are, 19 laps to go, a couple of late race cautions, and you find yourself in a really good position here to grab your first win of the playoffs. You know, I know that you guys kind of keep tabs on what the point standings are looking like here tonight, and I think really the main guy you had to keep an eye on was Sam Boutwell. He's running pretty close, so what's the game plan here?
Well, I mean, we outscored him in both the stages, so as long as I can keep him in my eyesight, I feel pretty confident we'll make it on to the next round. That's kind of the goal here. Is I was trying to put some distance between me and him. I'm not fast enough to win, but you know, good top 5 tonight. Maybe I can hold some guys off and get that. So that's kind of what my goal was for tonight.
Well, you know, it's only an 11-truck field, and the question I got for you is, do you have a set of tires left? And knowing that it is a bit of a smaller field, do you think there's any advantage if we get a really late caution going in to take that set of tires?
Yeah, actually, I do have one more set left, and if we get some green flag laps in here, yeah, I think you'll see everybody come down pit road.
All right. Well, hey, Joey, we appreciate you talking to us here. I'll let you go and get ready for the restart. Good luck the rest of the way.
All right, thanks, buddy.
There you go, Joey Hickox. We'll be ready to get back going. So that's interesting. Says, and that's true, I kind of forget to account that, is the fact that since Joey Hickox did do better than the 47 in both stages, that certainly already helped separate some distance between him and Boutwell. I think the biggest thing here would be you just probably don't want to see Boutwell win, and even then, it still might be close. But Joey Hickox said he's just going to try to keep him in sight, if you will, meaning that he just wants to stay as close as he can here to David Traylor. Doesn't necessarily expect to have enough speed to go up and try to challenge for the win, per se. Although he said he's got a set of tires left. I know he said everybody does, but I think there's a lot of drivers that at this point in the race, they wouldn't pit again because they just feel like it's too late. You can't go in. If you do, you're going to lose all your track position. So I would say if you're Joey Hickox here, don't count yourself out just yet. He's still very likely can find victory lane in this race, depending on how it goes the rest of the way. All right, here we go. It'll be 17 laps to go at Nashville, as pace car will make that left turn. Actually, it'll be, yep, sure enough, indeed 17 laps to go of the 160 that we started this race with. All right, here we go. Back into the Geico restart zone. Can Hickox get a better restart this time? Green flag is back in the air. He cannot. David Traylor is able to get another phenomenal jump. Joey Hickox will be able to slot into second, though. And 2x2 between Jay Stinson and Justin Parham. Parham knows how quickly he needs to try to get into this third position if he wants any chance of going to track down the 3 truck and then his teammates. Oh, man, the 19 gets in the wall right there. Parham got just a little bit tight off of turn number 2. As they work off into turn number 3, this is still a sketchy part of the racetrack on cold tires. Everybody going to be trying to make sure that they can keep the truck under them. It looks like they do. And so now first lap back under green is in the books, and that'll make it 16 laps to go. Joey Hickox still within about 2 truck lengths of David Traylor. And for David Traylor, we've seen the speed that he's had in the medium to long range portions of the run. And even, it looked like 54 truck had pretty decent speed in the short run. Now, if it was the fastest truck in the short run, well, that's going to be hard to say. We'll have to see if the 19 can get up here and do anything about it. As for Justin Parham, oh, man, Sam Boutwell, hold that thought, out back. A little bit of trouble right there just briefly for the 47 truck. As I believe he skimmed the outside wall coming off of turn 4. So Boutwell was able to catch it, but unfortunately that's going to cost him a spot to Matthew Fritz right there. Boutwell, a driver who's kind of in a must-win position just to even have a chance at advancing to the next round. Chance looks like it's starting to dim slowly but surely now with just 15 laps to go. Joey Hickox here still very close to the 54. He said he didn't feel like he had race-winning speed, but you wonder if he gets a chance here to make a move on this 54. Does he do it? Justin Parham trying everything to close that gap here. He's had a couple of looks at Joey Hickox, but none that have been able to get him to the inside or the outside of that 3 truck just yet. So it'll be 13 laps to go, and at this point, if we had another caution, I think this is where you start to slowly open that conversation of maybe going in for one more set of tires if you got them. Certainly could be a very split strategy, that's for sure, but David Traylor still up in front leading this race. He does this so often where whether it's a good night or a bad night, at the end when it matters most, 54 truck finds himself near the front, and it's so funny too because when you look back to last season and how tough it was for David Traylor trying to get that win, it seemed like he came second just about every other race before he finally was able to break through and get that first win. It's been the complete opposite of this season. It seems like he's a favorite to win just about every other week. Here tonight, he's going to try to fend off a very hungry Joey Hickox for 12 more laps. Joey sitting just about a truck length or 2 back. Looks like Joey's taking a little bit more of a shallow entry right there. That might hurt him a little bit on exit. Let's go back and watch the onboard view here of Joey Hickox and see if we can depict the difference that these 2 drivers are doing. So in 3 and 4, it looks more of the same. Joey Hickox gets down to the corner a little bit sooner, which on fresh tires I think is the better line. But as the tires start to wear out, it might start to hurt him a little bit. Gets a run. David Traylor dives all the way down to the apron. Remember, Justin Parham sitting very close as well. Joey Hickox this time gets caught in the wake of David Traylor. Not going to be able to get any lower. Gets a little bit tight on exit. And that's the question right there. So you saw how he got tight, but he's got enough grip that he was able to still keep himself, close and not get into the wall. But at what point, how many laps here under this green flag run, the short green flag run, until these tires start to give out and that move no longer works and Joey Hickox has to get out of the throttle? As soon as that happens, that's when David Traylor sets the sails and starts to pull away. But just one run here is what Joey Hickox is looking for, something that he can try to get to the inside or the outside here, David Traylor. And if you're Traylor, I mean, all you can really do right now is keep taking away the line of the 3 truck and hope that eventually what happens is what we just said, where eventually these tires wear out to the point where the 3 starts slipping. And now look at this. Justin Parham, he's looking for a bit of a run here. Parham going to be desperate to get around the 3 truck because he knows that they're running out of laps. It's now officially in single digits. 9 laps to go as Parham really closes in down the back bumper. Will he give a little bit of the chrome horn here to Joey Hickox? No, he doesn't. Looks for another run to the outside. Nothing doing there. Jay Stinson and Grant Turner now starting to creep back into the picture as well. Joey Hickox trying to hold off this 19 truck. Can Parham make it stick on the outside? He tried to jump to the outside line, but it just doesn't work for him. And now that cost him a little bit more time, and now Parham may fade back to Jay Stinson and have to worry about trying to fend him off now. Well, if we had one more restart before this race is all said and done, I'd almost say that Hickox may have a shot here at the 54. It seemed like he was able to hang with them there. Pretty tough for the first 5 laps or so in this restart. But now you can see David Traylor starting to get just a little bit of separation again. He's got about 3 to 4 tenths of a second now on Joey Hickox. He's going to try to hold that gap here for the rest of the way, maybe even extend it a little bit more. And with 7 laps to go, looks like the rest of the field now, majority single file. Chase Greer way off the pace. And the 8 truck, desperate need of a caution here to have a shot at it. But then again, Chase Greer now being scored 2 laps down after having to tow to fix that damage. So his chances are pretty slim here to even getting back on the lead lap at this point. Jonathan Herbert being scored as the last truck on the lead lap in 9th. And so for David Traylor here, off of turn 4, he will now officially see 6 laps to go. And remember, the big thing is you've got to get to the white flag to make this race official. So for David Traylor, he doesn't feel at all relaxed right now. He's more concerned about trying to find a way to get to that white flag before he'll be able to kind of cruise around that last lap. And for Joey Hickox here, unfortunately, that gap between him and the leader has not closed at all. Went from 3 tenths of a second, now well over half a second. And for Justin Parham, a truck that was so fast out in clean air, it seems like the speed is not there right now for the 19 in dirty air. That now brings us to 5 laps to go here at Nashville. What a crazy night it's been. David Traylor started at the absolute last position, the absolute back of the field. We talked about where was the speed for the 54. Felt like it was missing in stage 1. Felt like, for the most part, it was kind of missing in stage 2 as well. Then all of a sudden in stage 3, he started to find his stride a little bit. Was able to get with the leaders, make a pit stop with the top 3. And when he came out, he was able to take the lead. After taking that lead, he was able to restart a couple of these late restarts that we had on the front row. And has since pulled away from second place Joey Hickox. That was really the last checkbox that he needed to mark here. And the goal of winning this race here tonight. So David Traylor looking to make it 2 out of 3 in the round of 16. And he is just 3 laps away from doing that. I'm watching the 19 back here of Justin Parham. I don't know if he is just falling out of rhythm here with maybe a little bit of frustration of trying to get past Joey Hickox. But it just seems like the line that he's running right now continues to get him really, really tight on exit of the corner. A little bit better through 1 and 2 that time for Justin Parham. But you saw him 3 and 4 last lap. Pretty big struggle for the 19 car. And so at this rate, Venom Racing trying to take 1 spot on the podium. Grandstand Racing trying to take 2 of them. Parham, would love to make it a 1-2 finish for Grandstand Racing. I don't know if he's going to have enough time to try to find a way back up to and get around Joey Hickox. As now for David Traylor, just 2 laps to go in the final race in the round of 16. Traylor has been pretty much lights out here since his final restart. He's got that gap up to almost a second now over second place Joey Hickox. And so the battle for second will continue, but white flag is out. That means officially 1 lap to go at Nashville. David Traylor just 2 sets of corners left to crown himself yet another win here in the NOMA Truck Series and what has been easily a picture-perfect season. But he doesn't want it to end here. He wants to get all the way to the championship. And it all started with the round of 16. Got a win a couple weeks ago at Kansas. And here he is at Nashville in the final race of the round of 16 to do it again. David Traylor struggles early, but finds speed late, and he will win it at Nashville. About that, the Music City race winner is David Traylor. Joey Hickox able to hold on to a second place run. He's got to feel good about that. And then Justin Parham for Grandstand Racing caps it off in 3rd. So as David Traylor brings it around here to celebrate, we'll take a quick look at the results. And David Traylor is your race winner. Joey Hickox 2nd with Justin Parham in 3rd. Jay Stinson 4th. Grant Turner back in 5th with Matthew Fritz in 6th. Keith Prince in 7th. Sam Boutwell back in 8th with Jonathan Herbert in 9th. Chase Greer rounding out your top 10. And then it's John Buwalda back in 11th. David Traylor going to burn it down in front of the virtual grandstands. I wonder if they give him a virtual guitar to smash. Same way Kyle Busch did back in the Nashville Superspeedway race in the 2000s. David Traylor looks like going to continue to celebrate, and as he does, we're going to go grab your top 3 for interviews. Stick with us. We'll be right back at Nashville. All right, going to kick things off first here tonight with your race winner, David Traylor. David, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, Austin.
Well, you grabbed the race win here tonight. I mean, you already knew what your future was looking like in terms of making it to the round of 8, but, I mean, how does it feel to grab a second race win in just 3 races here in the round of 16?
I kind of wanted to make somewhat of a statement. Last year I didn't get a chance to race in the final race after some stuff going on outside of iRacing, but I feel like I've got one of the best kind of sets of momentum right now heading into these last few races. Everything is kind of clicking, just kind of getting in the zone. I get it. These guys are, this is elimination race. These guys are trying to make it in. But I'm not gonna take it easy on them. You got to beat me if you want to win, and that's what we did here today.
Absolutely. And I mean, I think the thing that makes tonight a little bit more special is that it seemed like you were struggling for speed in the first stage, maybe found a little bit the second, but it was really the third stage where you came to life. You got up front. What was kind of the difference and kind of the evolution? What did you figure out there through the second stage?
Yeah, so that's one of the benefits of the stage racing that we do these days. You can kind of figure out what works, and there's not really much of a penalty for it, apart from some track position. The first stage, I'm not going to lie, this first couple laps, I was actually kind of watching the Xfinity race off to the side. And then I just realized I can kind of save my tires here, see what my lap times look like at the end of the run. And running a pace that I thought was probably still too fast. I was still 2 or 3 tenths faster a lap than the leaders there at the end of that first stage. So second stage came around and I decided to push it a little harder. Kind of got through the field a little bit, and once I got up to Justin there, kind of just found my rhythm, just kind of stayed behind him. And then right at the last few laps, he kind of pulled away from me. So learned how hard I could drive it there. Knew that if you want to make a pass, you need to do it early. It's one of these tracks where it's your tires don't last that long. So early on in the run, just had to be aggressive, and it paid off.
That it did. Well, hey, to cap off a big win here tonight, before we move on to the round of 8, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, thanks to my teammates, Justin and Sam, for showing up tonight, and the rest of the guys. I know it's kind of a smaller field. Get down to these last few playoff races. There's a lot to race for some of these guys, and not a lot for some others. So thanks to everybody for showing up. Thanks to you for this broadcast on. I love going back and watching it. It's amazing every time. Thanks to Joey and Jay for running this league. I love coming here on Saturdays and competing with these guys. And then thanks to my dad watching at home and my wife watching in the other room.
David, thank you for talking to us again. Congrats on the win, and we will see you next week in the round of 8.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Austin.
All right, now that's going to bring us up to your second place finisher here on the night for Venom Racing. It's Joey Hickox. Joey, this is Austin in the booth. You got a copy?
Yes, sir.
Well, you said that you just wanted to try to keep them as close as you can, and you were able to hold on to second. Boy, how tough was that at the end? It looked like for a little while there, you actually had a chance at maybe trying to pass Traylor for the lead.
Yeah, just being up front, got a little bit more clean air on the front of the truck. Man, I don't know. I don't know how he does it. He can roll through the center of the corner so much faster than anybody else. So, but yeah, just happy we was able to bring home second. Completed my goal tonight, top 5. No incidents. Think I may have scrubbed the wall a couple times trying to push it too hard, but other than that, it was a great night for us. We're pretty sure we made it on to the next round unless there's something I don't know about. So that was a goal, and I think we accomplished it. So yeah, very happy.
Yeah, goal accomplished for sure here in the round of 16. But, talk about tonight and over the last couple of weeks, a couple races that had slightly less attendance maybe made it a little bit easier for the round of 16 drivers to try to advance to the round of 8. But even if we had the same attendance we had here tonight, next week and the couple races after that, it gets a little bit harder, doesn't it, once you go from the round of 8 to the round of 4? How does that kind of change the mindset? Do you have to focus a little bit more on going for the race wins, or do you just still try to accumulate stage points to make it through?
Well, with the smaller fields, stage points are king. So, my idea would be just score as many stage points as you can. If you could be there at the end, that's great. I mean, obviously, if you got a truck that can just blow everybody's doors away, then you can pretty much do whatever you want at that point. So, but I mean, nothing's really going to change. I mean, you don't really go out there and try to figure out who you're trying to race in the first couple anyway. You're just going out there doing the best you can. So that's what we're going to keep doing the next couple of weeks.
Sounds like a plan. Well, hey, Joey, before we let you head out here tonight, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Yeah, man, I got to thank our sponsors. We got Flatwoods Hunting Club, H&H Tractor Works, Manny Rays for helping us put the league on. I thank my teammates, man, Jason, Matt, and Chase there. I know Zach wasn't here tonight. His work shift has changed, so he's only going to be able to make a few races the rest of the season. But love racing with these guys. It's fun in the Discord. Love going back to watch it too, man. You do an awesome job. I got to thank you for that. It's a lot of fun when you get to go back and watch it. I want to thank my mom and my dad for watching. And I think my nephew's watching tonight because he sent me a text too, so appreciate that. So, yeah, man, that's about it. I'm tired. I'm ready to go to bed. That was a lot of work there at the end.
You and me both. But, hey, you were able to do enough work to get yourself that good second-place finish. So, hey, Joey, we appreciate you talking to us. Again, congrats on that second-place finish, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, man. I'm glad you're safe from that hurricane too, man. That got a little rough down there. I was just down there the other day. Still see trees everywhere, so glad you made it through that one good.
Absolutely. Thank you. All right. Well, that is going to now bring us up to your third-place finisher here on the night. For Grandstand Racing, it's Justin Parham. Justin, this is Austin up in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, you bring him a third-place finish here tonight. Man, you had so much speed. You swept the stages, but then there in stage 3, a couple things changed. We had a couple late cautions. What more do you feel like you needed there at the end to maybe go up and have a shot at your teammate?
Him and Greer initially short pitted me a little bit at the green flag stop there in stage 3. And after that, I found myself over driving the corner, just driving in a little too hard and sliding the right front in the dirty air. I believe if I would have pitted a little sooner on that stop, I think it would have worked out in the end.
Well, I know we had a couple of late cautions, and it looked like maybe another shot at it there. But, what was the big difference here tonight with the way these trucks handled it? It looked like, the difference between clean air and dirty air was dramatic.
Yeah, the front end pushed hard when you was in dirty air. It really wanted to take you up to the wall.
Well, even with all that, you still managed to secure a third-place finish here tonight. It's a first and third-place finish for Grandstand Racing. So as a team overall, how have you felt about the execution that you guys continue to have here through the early rounds in the playoffs?
I believe we were doing pretty good, keeping up with our team points, and they were always running up front, so we just got to keep that up for the couple more races.
Sounds like a plan. Well, hey, Justin, before we let you head out here tonight, is there anyone you want to thank or shout out?
Just a team for putting everything on, letting us do it every week, and of course you for coming out and streaming for us.
Justin, thank you for talking to us again. Congrats on the third-place finish, and we will see you next week.
All righty, thank you.
All right, well, that is just about going to wrap up our coverage here tonight. Boy, what a great race that one was. No surprises there to see David Traylor find victory lane yet again, but Nashville Superspeedway certainly provided its moments of great racing. It was a good one, too, under the lights. Next week, we are off to Chicagoland. Make sure you tune in for that. As for tonight, that's it for me, Austin Green, here on PGR eSports. As always, I hope you all enjoyed. Thank you so much for coming out. And until next time, have a good night.